Hey everybody, I'm Carl Lanning from Brazos River Charter School with This Week in History, specifically the week of April the 19th through 25th. Well, if you remember last week, I mentioned that we would deal with this extremely famous and very, very deadly man. On April the 21st of 1918, Manfred Freiherr von Richthofen, better known as the Red Baron, was killed just shy of his 26th birthday. Richthofen was the highest scoring ace on any side during the First World War with 80 confirmed kills. And considering the technology that the man had to work with, that's truly amazing, although the number was probably closer to 100. Uh, he grew frustrated early in his flying career, which only lasted 16 months, by the way. He grew very frustrated that he wasn't getting credit for the kills that he had made because there were some very, very strict rules on getting credit. So what he took to doing was he would land his aircraft whenever it was possible, get out and cut off the tail number of the opposing aircraft that he had shot down and stick it in his pocket. That way he made sure he got credit for it. This is a picture of his quarters once he became a squadron commander. That's the engine from one of his victims as well. The man who gets the official credit for shooting down the famous Red Baron was a Canadian pilot by the name of Roy Brown. Now, Roy Brown did actually engage the Baron that particular day. However, he logged in his book when he got back to base that it was unlikely that he was the one that shot him down. His squadron commander later changed that to confirmed. Given the nature of the wound, Brown was right. There's no way that he could have been the one to have actually gotten the Baron. The shot came from the ground. The Baron, as he was flying trying to escape Brown, which he did, flew over a rest area behind the lines of Australian soldiers. There were several thousand Australian soldiers there. Well, the minute that they saw this very, very famous plane come pop up over a ridge, the anti-aircraft machine gunners, as well as every Australian soldier who could get his hands on a rifle, grabbed it and started firing at the Baron. So there were literally thousands of Australians firing. Interestingly, there was one bullet hole found in the plane and one bullet hole found in the Baron out of all of those thousands of shots. And that's what brought him down. We will never know exactly who should get the credit for it because every single gun that was firing at him was a British 303. The machine guns, the riflemen, everybody. So there's no real way of telling exactly who got him, other than we know it did have come from the ground because of just the angle of the wound itself. However, there is another school of thought, and this is one that I somewhat subscribe to, that it may not have been the Australians, who, by the way, gave him a burial with full military honors, salute the entire 9 yards. I suspect that it may have been someone else. Soupy may have had something to do with this. He definitely had a grudge. I have to do a little bit of digging to see if I can prove that one. So, the death of the Red Baron. On April 23rd of 1896, a man by the name of Thomas Edison staged the first public demonstration of the motion picture projector. Now, this isn't the exact one, but it would have been very, very close to this anyway. People were absolutely awestruck by being able to watch motion pictures. It entirely blew their minds. Photography itself was roughly 50 years old, give or take. So motion pictures was something entirely new. Edison also is largely responsible for why the American movie industry is located in Hollywood, California. You see, Edison tried to actually patent the concept of a motion picture. And so when somebody else would make a motion picture, he was, being a very litigious man, would sick his lawyers on him. And so prospective movie makers moved out to California, where the weather was a lot better than it was in New Jersey anyway, and plus it was about as much distance as they could put between them and Edison's lawyers. So Maybe he's why we have a Hollywood. He was undoubtedly a brilliant man, there's no question about that, but sometimes he didn't quite grasp the commercial possibilities of some of his creations. For example, the phonograph. He thought of the phonograph as being a dictation machine. You would speak into it, hand it to a secretary, who would type up whatever you said later. When somebody suggested that you might be able to use it to listen to music, he couldn't accept the idea. Why would anybody want to listen to recorded music when you can hear it live? Of course, the fact that he was partially deaf may have had something to do with that. As far as the motion picture, he really showed no interest in making movies the way we tend to think of them until several other people made some fairly short features, and they turned out to be quite profitable. One of his business partners came to him and suggested the idea, and Edison, again, was absolutely dumbstruck. And when you think about the way he puts it, it kind of makes sense. He couldn't understand why would people pay good money to sit in a dark room full of complete strangers and watch pictures on a wall. And if you think about it like that, it does sound rather silly. Edison's first motion picture demonstration. And then on April the 21st of 1910, Mark Twain, Samuel Clemens, died. Mark Twain had predicted and joked about his death for decades. You see, Twain was born in 1835 on the day that Halley's Comet made its closest approach to Earth. And so he always joked that since I came in with the comet, I'll go out with it. We're both apparitions anyway. He died the day before it made its closest approach to the Earth. Twain, besides being a world-renowned writer, was also a fantastic wit, and I believe had an insight into humanity that was particularly keen. So I'd like to end with a couple of Twainisms, if you don't mind. There's Mr. Twain. Sometimes I wonder whether the world is being run by smart people who are putting us on, or by imbeciles who really mean it. Never argue with stupid people. They will drag you down to their level and then beat you up with experience. This one's definitely true. If you pick up a starving dog and you make him prosperous, he will never bite you. This is the principal difference between a dog and a man. And finally, go to heaven for the climate, to hell for the company. Well, that'll do us for this week in history, but just to let you know what's coming up, next week, we will meet this very, very odd man and witness his impact on history. Thank you for your time. I'm Carl Lanning, Brazos River Charter School, and we look forward to seeing you right here next week.